Hi YouTube! Welcome back to my random thoughts on Thursdays, and this time I'm going to talk a little bit about diet, nutrition, and fitness. Alright, if you are by any chance a longer time viewer of my vlog, you might have seen that I did a vlog earlier this year talking about diet, nutrition, and trying to exercise and things like that, and the fact that I actually screwed up my knee when I was goofing off during one of the exercise routines I was doing with the Wii Active 2 workout. And unfortunately that entire scenario just kind of was a big epic fail for me. I ended up skipping a week, and then it turned into 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 6 months, and ended up just giving it up entirely, and it was just not I was hoping it was going to be more fun than it was. I was hoping it was going to encourage me to keep exercising all the time, but at the end of the day I just ended up failing and just falling off again with it. So about a little more than a month ago I finally got my my lazy button gear and decided to try and get into shape again. Primarily because I'm getting older. If I don't keep my fitness and health up, I'm going to have more problems down the road, and I know this. My grandmother was an amazing person because she actually stayed very active and she was very fit all her life. Now, she didn't stay fit and active because she went to the gym all the time. In fact, I don't know if they even had gyms back when she was younger, but she was a housewife primarily, but then she also worked as a hotel maid and housekeeper and that kind of thing. And let me tell you, doing work around the house is definitely going to keep you fit and in shape, because boy, that's a workout. That being said, admittedly I have a housekeeper, so I don't do housework because I hate housework. So I needed some other way of keeping myself fit. And so the first thing I did, one, was to change my diet again. I'm back on a low-carb diet plan. And I shouldn't say diet, I should say lifestyle. Low-carb lifestyle, because it's not just a diet to lose weight and then I'll go back to eating the way I did. That's not the whole point. The whole point is to eat like this permanently. You know, allowing myself to eat carbs maybe once in a while as a special treat, maybe for the holidays here and there, but basically eating low carb for the most part the rest of my life. That's the concept, that's the idea, that's what I'm hoping to try and achieve, is to get myself into the habit of eating like this all the time. And for me, low carb, I'm not following Atkins, I'm not following Fat Flush Plan or any of these other published kind of diets out there. I'm just kind of taking a common sense approach to low carb. I know that things like added sugar, added high fructose corn syrup, processed carbs that you'd find in bread and pasta, starches that you'd find in rice, corn, and potatoes, all have what's known as a high glycemic index, and they spike your insulin levels and they convert to fat, and it's just all sorts of bad. So trying to limit that in my diet right now, primarily eating mostly vegetables, some fresh fruits, and then a nice amount of lean protein. That would include things like eggs, chicken, fish, you know, the occasional piece of steak or lamb, that kind of thing. So trying to keep it healthy. And then other types of protein and then also fiber I can get from legumes like lentils or beans, garbanzo beans, and things like hummus are really good. So there's a lot of options and variety out there. I'm definitely never going to go vegan or vegetarian because I do like eating meat. And if anyone out there is a vegetarian, I apologize, but I like it, I'm sorry, and I'm not going to stop eating it. But I try to stick to the grass-fed and free-range type of things as often as I possibly can. But, you know, that's not always an option. But at the very least, I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to not eat pasta. I'm trying to avoid my favorite grilled cheese sandwiches that I like to make. I have a few things I'm going to miss on this diet. And it doesn't mean that I'm never going to eat a grilled cheese sandwich ever again in the entirety of my life. That's not true. I definitely will have a grilled cheese sandwich at some point in the future, but for right now, I want to try and get my body used to eating healthy. So that was step one. Step two was to basically go back to the gym. And I knew that if I just went to the gym, started going to the gym by myself and just kind of doing whatever, that was going to be another failure for me because I would eventually fall out of the practice of it. And so what I did was the one gym that I like to go to here where we live has an 8-week healthy weight program. And what it is basically, first of all, you have 8 full weeks of complete access to any one of their gyms. They have 4 gyms right now in our location. And you have full access to all their facilities. Their swimming pools, their hot tubs, all their exercise equipment, climbing wall if you're into rock climbing, that kind of thing, which I'm not, but everything. And then with that, I get 6 sessions with a personal trainer plus 2 assessments. So she did an assessment at the beginning to kind of assess where I was at with my weight, with my flexibility, with my cardio, etc. And then we're going to do another assessment at the very end after those 6 sessions are over with. And so she's been primarily focusing me on strength training because I've already started doing cardio. In fact, before I had a chance to even meet up with her, I immediately got back into doing cardio. I started with the treadmill, upgraded myself then to doing the elliptical because I can burn more calories in the same amount of time with an elliptical. And basically I'm doing the elliptical, or I started doing the elliptical, or the cardio basically 5 times a week. Just to kind of get myself started until she got me into a strength training regimen. And now she's got me into a strength training regimen, and so the way I'm now doing my exercises is I'm doing 30 minutes of cardio 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I'm doing about 40 to 45 minutes of strength training 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then I take Sunday off. And so that seems to be a good routine for me. I meet with her once a week. She kind of sees where my progress is, what I'm doing, kind of gives me helpful tips for next steps, especially as I start maxing out certain things. I'm already doing 15 reps in 2 different sets of each of the strength training exercises she has me do, and it's a good blend of lower body, core, and upper body strength training exercises with different machines and things. So I'm pretty happy with the routine, and I like the fact that she's there to kind of keep an eye on me, and even if I'm not meeting with her, she's there and she sees that I'm working out and she gives me a thumbs up, and so that kind of helps me to take my own accountability for the exercise and kind of go and do it. So I've been doing this now for about 4.5 weeks with the exercise, and I've been sticking to it. Despite the fact that actually last Saturday I sprained my ankle. I just was going outside to the patio, our dogs were barking at something, and it was dark out, and I stepped on one of their dog bones and sprained it really badly. In fact, it's a category 2 sprain or something like that, and my doctor said that it might take as long as 3 weeks to heal. However, I'm still working out. I'm not doing the elliptical or treadmill, obviously, because I can't put weight on the foot. Or I shouldn't be putting that much weight on the foot all the time. Instead, I'm using the rowing machine. So I'm sitting down, you know, my legs are moving back and forth. I'm primarily putting pressure on my right leg because it's the left one that's sprained. And then, of course, the majority of the exercise is using my arms. So that works for me, and I can actually do most of my strength training still, just not the leg press or the calf raises. I can actually do, there's an adductor and abductor lower body, and that one I can actually still do, so I'm still doing that one. So anyway, so I'm doing all of that right now, and I'm kind of recording this for, 1, for posterity, and 2, for trying to keep myself honest and keep myself doing this. So I'm not going to talk about this every week, or every 2 weeks, or every time I vlog, but perhaps a couple of times a year I might try and update everyone in terms of my progress and things. Yes, I want to lose weight. I'm not trying to fit into a hot, sexy little dress or anything like that. I'm doing it for my health at this point. I'm doing it because I know if I don't, I could run into health problems. I know that, see, my grandfather had diabetes, my grandmother died of colon cancer, my mom had early stage colon cancer when she passed away, even though she died from something else entirely. But there's a lot of cancer, there's diabetes, there's heart disease in my family, and so I know that if I don't take care of myself, I'm just gonna keel over one day. And I'd really like to kind of enjoy the rest of my life, and I'd like to see a healthy ripe old age. I don't want to be a older woman, you know, in my 80s or 90s, but just suffering from a lot of disease and things because I didn't take care of myself when I was younger. And I'm still young enough now where I have the stamina where I can kind of get into this routine and do it, and I need to try and keep doing it. Right now, obviously, my focus is weight loss and fitness and kind of getting to a healthy weight. My next goal after that is then to try and maintain it, and that's where I've always struggled. I've had success in the past of losing weight, but then it always comes back because I fall off of the wagon and I stop exercising, I stop eating healthy, etc. So I'm going to try again to not do that. It's hard. I know it's hard, but I need to try and be more determined this time. And this is the first time so far that I've ever had an exercise routine where I've injured myself and I still kept exercising. In the past, I've always used injury as an excuse to not do anything, to just sit in my butt and moan and cry and whine about the fact, oh, woe is me, I have a sprained ankle. This time I was like, no, I'm getting up, I'm going to the gym, end of discussion. And not to sound immodest, but I'm kind of proud of myself for that because I've not done that before. So anyway, that is my current journey on diet and fitness. And anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about this week. So until next time, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.